So we've learned what electronic configuration is. We've learned what duplet rule is. We've learned what octet rule is. We've learned that all other elements that are not noble gases try to attain noble gas configuration, which is the duplet or the octet rule. And they do so by losing or gaining electrons. So now how does this loss or gain of electrons happen? So it's kind of like, let's say I have a box of paints, okay? So I have a box of, or not paint, let's say I have a box of crayons, okay? Now in this box of crayons, I am missing one crayon, okay? And there is somebody else, one of my friends, who has a complete box of crayons with all crayons completely full, and they also have one extra crayon which I am missing. So what do? I take that crayon from my friend and I add it to my box. Now that person does not have any extra crayons and I don't have any missing crayon. So like, you know, they don't have to carry anything extra and I don't have to feel like I'm a little empty, right? So I end up taking that burden off of that person, and then that person is happy, I am happy, it's a win-win situation, okay? Similarly, this is what happens with atoms also, okay? So when I talk about the word bond in English, in the word English language, when I say the word bond, what does that mean?
Ma'am, the coming together of two or more elements.
No, in English, what is the meaning of a bond?
Ma'am, a bond which hold, ma'am, a bond is a like a string or like that which holds together some things like elements also.
Yeah, so connection, basically a connection. Yes, Ronak, that means I'm stable. The box of crayons that I have, I'll be happy, okay? If I have a complete box of crayons, I'm happy. The other person's happy because they don't have to carry anything extra. Okay, so it's like a win-win situation for both people. All right, so a bond is nothing but a connection, a relation, yes, or an attachment, okay? So it can be a bond between a child and a parent. It can be a bond between a student and a teacher, between two friends, whatever, okay? So bond is nothing but a connection. Now, similarly, atoms also share bonds. How does that happen? Let's take a look. So, for example, I have sodium. Sodium has atomic number 11, electronic configuration 281. Okay. Chlorine has atomic number 17, electronic configuration 287. So now let's start with sodium. Okay. Sodium has to lose this one electron, right? So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw sodium and I'm going to draw its valence electrons in the form of a dot around that atom. This representation, okay, so whenever I draw valence electrons, for example, chlorine has 7 valence electrons, so I'm going to draw 7 dots around chlorine. So these dots represent the number of electrons in the outermost shell. Okay, so these structures, whenever I draw a structure or an element with electrons represented as dots, then this is called as sorry, one second, guys. Okay, so this has 7. Yeah, so this has 7 electrons and that are represented by dots. So this structure is called as the Lewis dot structure. So this was the scientist Lewis who invented this method of writing or method of representation, and that is why it is called as the Lewis dot structure. Okay, so this is, so for sodium the Lewis dot structure is this, basically Na with 1 dot. Okay, so now in order for sodium to be stable, it has to lose 1 electron. Now, in order for chlorine to be stable, how many electrons does it have to lose or gain? It has to gain 1 more electron. Yes. So chlorine has to gain 1 electron in order to be stable, and sodium has to lose 1 electron. So guess what? Sodium gives 1 of its electrons to chlorine. Okay, so sodium gives 1 of its electrons to chlorine. So this is basically a transfer of electron. So sodium ends up giving one of its electrons to chlorine. Is that clear? And then what happens when sodium ends up giving one of its electrons to chlorine? Sodium acquires a positive charge. It becomes a positively charged ion. Okay. Similarly, chlorine has acquired one electron, so it ends up getting a negative charge. So that becomes a negatively charged ion. What happens when I have two unlike charges? Do they attract or do they repel? They attract. Excellent. So the positive charge and the negative charge, they attract towards each other and they form a bond called as NaCl, which is your common salt or sodium chloride. Okay. So this is what is called as an ionic bond. Ionic bond. So if you notice, ionic bond always happens between two ions and always between a metal and a non-metal. So sodium is a metal and chlorine is a non-metal. Okay. So ionic bond always takes place between a metal and a non-metal, and ionic bond takes place with a transfer of electrons. Is that clear? Say yes if you understood and no if you did not. Arya?
Yeah, can you call me?
Yes. Okay, you responded. All right, cool. Okay. So now that is clear. Now, can you guys tell me what will happen to, how will there be a, okay, let's do it. All right. So magnesium. Okay, so I have magnesium. Atomic number is 12. Electronic configuration will be 28. Oops. Electronic configuration will be 282. And chlorine 17. Electronic configuration 287. Now what happens with magnesium and chloride? So magnesium will form an ion because it will lose these two electrons. It has to get rid of those two electrons. So we'll say Mg2+, and chlorine has to gain one electron. So I'm just going to say Cl -1. Okay. Now an easier way to do this is something called as the cross multiplication or crisscross method. Okay. So basically what happens is I'll write down MgCl as it is. Okay. Mg and Cl. Then what I do, I take the valency, just the valency, not the charge, just the valency of magnesium and I write it over here. And I take just the valency of chlorine and I write it over here. Okay. So that gives me MgCl2. So the bond formed between magnesium and chlorine will give me MgCl2. So how does that happen? Like in practical, let me just show it to you. So the Lewis dot structure of magnesium will be magnesium with 2 dots and chlorine with 7 dots. Okay, and I have one more chlorine with 7 dots. I know chlorine can only take one electron. Each of the chlorines can only take one electron. So what happens? This electron will go to this chlorine and this electron will go into this chlorine. So there are now 2 chlorines and 1 magnesium, which is why I have Mg and Cl2. Is this clear to everybody? Ronak, these are called ionic bonds. Okay, great. Now can you guys tell me, so this is, ma'am, okay, I'll tell you that later, Ronak. We haven't gotten there yet, okay? So this is called an ionic compound. So basically when two ions combine to form a compound, or they form a bond, they end up forming a compound, and that compound is called an ionic compound. Okay. So now can you guys tell me the ionic compound between, hold on, between aluminum, atomic number 13, 13? Yes, 13, and chlorine, atomic number 17. I want you to tell me the compound that is formed between Al and Cl. Kavya, check it one more time. That's not correct. Shaumik, check it one more time. Varnika, good. Yes, Kavya, that's right now. Good, Kirtana. Naisha. Yes, good, Shaumik. Okay, Remon. How are two chlorines formed? Okay, so two chlorines are not formed. Two chlorines come together. Okay, so so imagine it's something like this. So chlorines are there in the environment. Just like, you have friends, right? How do you make friends? Like, are friends like just like formed out of nowhere? No. So you go out, you interact with people, and that's how you make friends. Similarly, these electrons, for example, magnesium goes around searching, and it requires two chlorine atoms. So it ends up making bonds with two chlorine atoms. It searches for those chlorine atoms. Okay. All right. So Remon, can you tell me how? So did you understand how AlCl3 is formed? Okay. All right. So let us look at AlCl3. Okay. For those of you that did not understand. So aluminum has atomic number 13. Chlorine has atomic number 17. Electronic configuration 283. Electronic configuration 287. Alright, so let me draw the Lewis dot structure of aluminum. Lewis dot structure of aluminum, it has 3 valence electrons. So I'm just going to draw 3 dots around aluminum. Okay. Now chlorine has 7 valence electrons. So the Lewis dot structure of chlorine will be 7 dots around chlorine. So I'm going to draw 1 chlorine. Okay. How many electrons does this chlorine need? Remon? 1. Excellent. Good, Ronak. So this chlorine needs 1 electron. So it will get this 1 electron from aluminum. Okay. Now, what about these other 2 electrons? Where will they go? Remon, you don't know. Good. Yes, Shamik, they need to find more chlorines to bond with. Yes, it needs another chlorine. Yes. Excellent. So what happens, Remon, is that 1 chlorine is there, right? So 1 electron has gone to one of the chlorines. Now what happens is some more chlorine atoms come in. Okay. So from the environment, like for example, I put it in chlorine solution or something like that. Okay. So some more chlorines come in, and I bring in another chlorine atom, and this chlorine atom also requires 1 electron. So this ends up going to chlorine. Okay, so now this chlorine also has 1 electron. I mean, now this chlorine also has 8 electrons. It satisfies the octet rule. What about this 1 electron? Where will this go? Remon? Again a new chlorine. Excellent. Yes. So again a new chlorine comes in. So I put another chlorine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. So this ends up going over here. All right. So now how many aluminums I have? I have 1 aluminum and I have 3 chlorines. That is why I get AlCl3. Is this clear now, Reman? Okay. Now, if you don't want to ask one more, ma'am. Okay, fine. I will. Hold on 1 second. Now, if you guys don't want to do this, if this is like taking a long time, then the easier method is the crisscross method. How do you do that? Is basically you write down the ion for aluminum. You write. Please mute
Ma'am,
yourselves,
your
guys.
voice is breaking.
Okay, sorry.
Ma'am, your voice is breaking.
Is it breaking for everyone? Okay, then you'll have to log out and log in, okay? Okay, so, all right. So, yeah, aluminum, just write down their ionic, forms. For example, aluminum has 3 electrons in the outermost shell. It is easier for it to lose those 3 electrons. So, I'll write Al3+. Then chlorine, it is easier for chlorine to gain 1 electron. So, I'll write Cl-1, okay? Now, what I'll do, I'll take this chlorine Al3+ and Cl-1. I'll put them next to each other, okay? Now I'll crisscross these two. Okay, when I crisscross these two, I end up getting aluminum and chlorine, but this 3 ends up coming over here and this 1 ends up coming over here. That is how I end up getting AlCl3. So you don't have to do all this. You can just avoid it and just use the crisscross method and you'll get it. Did you understand now, Rimon? Okay. All right, let's do one more. I am out of examples, so let me think about it. Can you guys come up with something? Because I'm trying to think.
Oh, we already did that.
All right. Yeah.
Lithium and fluorine.
Okay, sure. Yeah. Go ahead, guys. Do lithium and fluorine. What compounds do lithium, atomic number 3, and fluorine, atomic number 9, form together? I'll be right back.
Ma'am, ma'am, is fluorine non-metal?
Yes. All right, so let's take a look. Lithium, electronic configuration 2,1, fluorine 2,7. So I can write lithium as +1 and fluorine as -1. Let's just use the crisscross method. +1, F, -1, crisscross, I get LIF. Clear, everyone? Good job. All of you pretty much got it right. Yes, that's lithium fluoride. Okay. So yeah, that was ionic bonding.